Hello, everybody. Welcome to another weekly episode here at the YYC Real Estate Show, April 13th. Shiraz here with Zach, Sebastian, a very special guest, Brennan from Cashyn Homes. Of course, while you guys are here, I'll give you the latest news, what happened in the last 7 days. So there were 627 sales in the last 7 days here in Calgary. 350 were detached, 49 were attached homes, 170 condos, which we'll brush on, that's a lot. Condos are usually not that many, and 91 townhomes. The highest sale was 4.25 million in Alberta, 4,600 square foot quadruple garage, 5-bed, 6-bath place, so a nice one. And the lowest sale was 140,000 in Forest Lawn, 3-bed, 2-bath apartment. And sales are down 40% from last year. Wow. New listings are down 40%. But this insane low inventory not seen since about 2006 is driving the prices up, creating bidding wars like we were talking about last week. It's still a very live seller's market. And interest rates, if you guys want to know, the lowest you can get today, 4.29 from a Canadian lender, 5-year, 4.64 from Alterna Savings, 3-year, 5.49 on a 2-year from CanWise. If you want, those are all B lenders, as we all know. If you want to go to an A lender like TD Bank, they got a 4.89 on a 5-year fixed. So, anything else you guys want to talk about your listings from last week? What happened with your under construction? We talked about that last week. So, what about your new build in Cochrane?
Yeah, new build, a little slower. Still interest, but since I can't let people walk through it, it's a little tough to sell, right?
Cardell, right? Cardell Homes?
Yeah, Cardell Homes. Okay. So yeah, that one's getting interest. It's gonna sell.
Of course.
It is the most expensive home in the neighborhood, but
tell us about it. How much is it again?
So it's listed at $989, and it's more expensive than any home in that neighborhood by about $100,000. But it is also much newer than anything there, right? Yeah. So yeah, no, that's gonna go, and been busy.
That's good. And Zach, last week we were talking. You had a sale in Thorncliffe there. And we were talking about how you don't always take the highest offer in competing offers. Yeah. You want one with the lowest conditions.
Yeah, I talked about it last time. I missed last week's episode because I was sick.
I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I know. I've been hearing it from this guy. But yeah, it ended up getting another offer. He's right. There's 5 offers. We took the one with the least conditions with the financing condition. Sold 10,000 over ask, and they closed 2 days ago. So the seller's happy. I'm happy. Buyer's happy. I got one coming up in Dalton Drive, nice little apartment there for $224, just a 1-bed, 1-bath, and that'll be listed in a couple days. So excited about that.
Yeah, I've been busy selling Rohit product out in Cochrane. So if anybody wants Rohit, it's a new build. Greystone is where I was selling on the weekend. So they range from $439 all the way to $504,900. There is one big one called Galima that's just under $600,000. But now with a little bit of the stats out of the way, folks, the real exciting news is having my friend and colleague, Brennan Cashyn Homes. Now,
happy to have you.
I wanted to ask, it was founded in 2019?
Yeah, it was incepted in 2019. Yeah, so we didn't really get going till May 1st, 2020. This was after the pandemic, but yeah, it's been quite a ride since then. But yeah, through 2019, it was a lot of napkin ideas. You know, we were out door knocking, dropping off some flyers, but there was 4 people involved at that time, and then since then, I actually walked away from Cashyn Homes. I actually did leave Cashyn Homes at the very start, threw it all away, and I said no, I'm just focusing. I was an engineer at that time, and then Anthony just called me one day, and it was after the pandemic started. I was in an engineering contract, and he's just like, hey, just me and you, do you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And since then, it's just been, yeah.
Okay, it's interesting. So it was 4 individuals in the beginning.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay, and now it's just you and Anthony. Anthony, who will be on an episode. He's recovering.
Yeah, probably a couple months. If you guys have us on again,
of course. We'd love to have you on as much as possible.
Yeah.
So the founders are then now officially you and Anthony.
Yeah, that's correct.
And your team? Talk to us about your team now.
Yeah, our team now, we've definitely grown it out. Still a lot of room for growth, but we have a transaction coordinator, sales and marketing manager. We have 2 on sales. I'm on sales acquisitions and dispositions. I'll kind of step in to help them a bit, so I'm kind of running both sides. And then we have a consultant in our office helping us with a few systems and processes, and then to help
Nice.
scale, or at least orientate us for scale, because it's not just hit the scale button. You have to have a few things figured out prior to, and just look at a lot of different aspects of the business before you can take that next step. And adding more people, it's like, well, you don't want to scale chaos, right? So we're kind of trying to take it a little slower. I don't want to, like, I'm on boat moving with speed, as you know, as being a wholesaler.
Yeah.
But the company itself, we definitely want to do it right. So
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so just to speak on that, tell everybody what Cashyn Homes is all about. What's your kind of gig?
yeah, so we're the number one wholesaler in Alberta, and we were founded, like I said, in 2019, officially 2020, May 1st. And wholesaling itself is simply just connecting an investor. We only work with investors for our buyer side, connecting an investor to a seller, and we wholesale the product to them. So we take a fee. Seller doesn't pay no commissions. The buyer actually pays the commissions. So we're just flipping the script a little bit, finding great deals for those investors, and helping them grow their bottom line, right? Getting them in very profitable projects. They do the real work at the end of the day, but we do source them the deals that can make that achievable. So it's a valuable aspect of the whole process.
Nice.
And we've seen a lot of success with it. We are only in Calgary right now, and we took a stab at Edmonton last year, but then we dialed back, and like I said, we want to just make sure we take care of things here.
Mhm.
And for the investor side, the types of investors or the product that they're buying, we work with developers, fix and flippers, and then buy and hold investors. No retail currently, like I said, it's just investors, but there's a potential in the future that we can bring that a little more alignment on that. But
Nice.
I don't like conditions.
And
Nobody does. Nobody does.
The great thing
That's
I love
funny.
about Cashyn Homes and Brennan, I met him a while back, did some deals with Brennan and Cashyn Homes, is that he's very inclusive with us real estate agents, whereas there's a misconception in the industry about how wholesalers and realtors don't get along or they don't do business together. It couldn't be farther from the truth. I've done many with Brennan. Brennan's got properties he's flipping himself. We list them. I have your Fondaway one.
Yep.
Right. So it's a lot of good stuff. Now, I saw on your website there's some frequently asked questions by the public. So you touched on already. Is there a fee? So you answered that. Like that's probably a common one. Like what does Cashyn charge?
Yeah.
And one really cool one is on there. It says you can close in 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very, very attractive to sellers and anyone out there, because you understand us in the industry, we have to get in there, meet them first, tell them what they need to do before I have it ready for the public and MLS, and it's a show home, right?
Yeah.
It's a tour.
Yeah.
Whereas you're taking it as is, and I understand for a quick sale there has to be some discount for.
Of course, yeah. Anytime you're offering any sort of convenience to the seller, it's you are trading. You have to be fully aware that you're trading equity, right? And we make them fully aware. It's like, look, you want this done in in 7 days or less. Like our record is 48 hours till money was transferred. So
Wow.
the lawyers hated us.
Yeah.
for that. There's obviously a lot of paperwork to do and transfer docs to get around, but that was our record. But 7 days is a lot more achievable. Even 7 days is pushing it, but we do it. It all depends on the situation of the seller. We want to make sure they're taken care of. And we still try to get them the best price, but it has to make sense. If I'm going to call one of my investors and say, you got to close on this in 7 days, it better be a good deal,
Mhm.
right? They think the same way, right? They're looking at the profits, and if you got to call that kind of money, it's like they're likely not getting it very cheap either, unless they have cash, right? Which is another thing to touch on wholesaling is like not all of my buyers are cash, right? A lot of them are private money.
Mhm.
I think that's just a common thing where it's like, oh, cash buyers. It's like, no, we're just private home buyers. It's like it's not necessarily cash, right?
Yeah. It's just a quick close, no
yeah.
conditions, so to speak, right? That's
Yeah.
what's attractive about it, right? Even me at my own home, I've received Cashyn Homes letters and stuff before I even knew.
Yeah.
So
we
it's
live in
very-
the city quite a
Very
bit.
intrigued, and then the universe works in mysterious and beautiful ways. Next thing you know, I'm walking in here because I did a deal with Cashyn Homes.
Nice.
That's how we met. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah, it was cool.
So tell us, what's the thing you enjoy the most? You left being an engineer, which is a very respected and a career that so many people aspire to achieve, and not everyone can finish and get through the gauntlet of the intense schooling that it takes to become an engineer. I only know a handful of engineers.
Yeah.
So, from leaving that to embarking in this, what do you enjoy the most? Obviously, I'm sure you would never, if you could go back, you would do the same thing again, right?
Yeah, I mean, looking at it now and just the level of success that we're at now, it's obviously I wouldn't turn back. There's some times though in the last couple of years that I was like, what am I doing, right? So, but it's just when you go through a lot of challenges, it's you kind of reminisce about that. But no, there's no looking back now. What I like about the wholesaling, I guess I do like building a team. You could argue, well, could you have done that in engineering? Maybe, yeah. But I just didn't like the cap. I like the growth. I like creating things. And a lot of people don't know, actually, I was a carpenter for roughly 6 years. And so it actually did just come full circle, just more on the business side. So I have a good understanding of what it takes to do a renovation, what it takes to build a house, just the whole order of operations. So it's not just like I got into wholesaling, and not knowing. It's like, oh, well, how'd you find out about wholesaling? It's like, well, I mean, I just looked at it as business, and it's like, well, it's things that I used to touch and feel and build myself. So it's not like it's completely random. People would think it's random. It's like petroleum engineer, wholesaler. It's like, well, there's a backstory to that. I was a farmer and a carpenter before that, right?
I was gonna mention that.
so-
Getting to know you more, it was interesting to find out you're from Saskatchewan farm.
Yeah.
I tried calling him about a deal we were working on, or I was working on something, and he's like, I'm on a tractor right now.
I still farm, so I guess you could say I'm a farmer wholesaler.
Yeah,
I go on twice a year.
You're not on all trades.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know how much more the brain can handle, but it's just growing, man. So there's lots to learn and lots to do, but I love it. Love my life. Waking up every day. And
When did you come to Calgary?
I moved here in 2012, September 2012. So it'll be approaching, I guess, 11 years here. And
You love it?
yeah,
It's home.
it's home for now, anyway. Yeah, I got a few more things to achieve here for sure. I lived here most of the 2 years. I did move down to the States. That was in 2014 to 2016, just to finish up my engineering school. And then, but other than that, I've been in Calgary, so 9 years here technically, and it's great, close to the mountains.
Of course.
It's an exciting place to be in from a business standpoint. Even oil and gas, it's actually, when I was an engineer there, it was a little bit of a lull, so I mean, maybe it wasn't that exciting, but it's all what you make of it, right? What kind of opportunities you uncover.
I really enjoyed. I had a 11-year stint. Did real estate on the side. Now I'm full-time real estate, which if I could go back, I would be full-time real estate. But I don't take for granted the experience of those 11 years in the oil patch. I don't know if I told you, I worked at Hunting Energy Services in the sales department.
Yeah.
So shout out to Hunting Energy. I learned how to drink and I learned how to golf.
Those are definitely two things you learn in oil and gas.
I worked on the rigs for a bit in the oil life, and
Oh, really?
I can't say the same thing about enjoying it.
You were
I was a roughneck. It was a huge motivation to get into real estate. I'll tell you, if you ever want some motivation to switch careers, get a job in the oil field. Don't just say that some people love it. Money's great, but I was taking my course. I needed some money. Went out there, and I remember the one night shift. I said, I'm gonna go back on this hitch, pass this test, and get out of here. And I did that. So
I worked on the rigs too, man. It's for a year. It's long days, man.
Oh,
I did it to save up for engineering school, actually.
Nice.
Right? So,
It teaches you a lot of lessons. Meet some cool people. You just see some stuff that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you want to talk about it or not, but
maybe not on this show.
No, exactly. Actually, I have
This is a free platform.
It's true.
We've given the people what they were here for at the beginning.
Yeah.
Your stats. Now it's time to get to know.
I do have a question, because we all door knock in our jobs. How many doors do you think you knocked on in your life? I know it's going to be a hard number, but if you were just for the people to kind of see the hard work behind the scenes.
It's probably over 5,000, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We dropped, so we were D for D'ing, driving for dollars, for those of you who don't know what that is. But at the very start of Cashyn, that's what it was, right? It was driving for dollars, and we cruised 40 neighborhoods, and we were knocking doors and dropping letters, right? And we think we did around 14,000 homes that we dropped hand delivered ourselves, and then
Wow.
when you start learning, it's like, well, that's not very scalable, so you can't do that every day. But we were doing like 8-10 hour days, and your brain just gets completely messed up from not only talking to people, but just even like analyzing houses, just like driving by, looking at houses, and then stopping, getting out.
Have I knocked on this door before?
Yeah, you're just like,
yeah.
yeah. Then you got one guy on the phone just taking down addresses, distressed properties, and the other guy's like, oh, okay, drop a letter, yeah, knock on the door, okay, yeah.
We're doing that a lot now. This is
Yeah.
the time. Record low inventory. We need more listings, so we're out there inviting them to our open houses, our listings, and offering free CMAs, of course, and just trying to find out if there's someone that's considering selling.
Yeah.
And trying to think outside the box as much as possible, because we all have buyers. I have buyers right now, and sometimes before we can even drive to our appointment that's 2 hours away, I get a notification: canceled, sold firm, unconditional, canceled,
Oh, it's
pending
so
sale.
fast, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
that's
market
crazy.
we're in, but we're gonna enjoy it. Enjoy the
Yeah,
ride.
yeah.
Figure out creative ways to make things happen for you and your clients.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sebastian, you want to talk about real estate down in Mexico?
In Mexico, ooh,
Oh,
it's different. It's
Mexico.
different. It's a little more. Well, I bought a house with a relative in Mérida, Yucatan, right?
Yeah.
And the
That
way
sounded
that
so good when you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like,
Spanish coming out, but no, the process is definitely different, and finding someone you can trust to help you handle that deal is very important. Because for us, the lawyer told us, no, you just send the money directly, the deposit directly to the seller,
Oh, yeah.
the whole sum directly to the seller, and it's like, but what if like they don't want to, close or come sign,
give me the
right?
keys.
Our realtor down there fought with our seller. Was was literally like yelling at her in the lawyer's room and being like, hey, you because there's a confusion about commissions, right? And he was like, you just, bad things happen to bad people, right? It's a karma. You better believe it, right? And
Oh, that's
yeah,
scary.
Shoo, we're trying to close a deal, right? But the lawyer just sat back, just watched them fight, didn't do nothing about it, didn't mediate or anything. But so that was an interesting experience. A bit uncomfortable when sending the money, right? You're just wire transferring, $100,000 overseas. You're like, hopefully this gets to you, right? But no, I actually work with a few developers down there, and yeah, they.
So is it similar? How is it different? Meaning, do they have an MLS system?
No.
Or the
They-
lockboxes?
The city that most of Mexico does not have any online search system, MLS system. So it's just like the inventory that realtor has or that team or brokerage has. If apart from that, you gotta drive around,
Yeah.
look for sale signs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And
Yeah.
it's so hard to compare properties. You get pricing, right? Because it's like, how do you? There's no data.
Can't pull comparables and plug it into
You got an easy- you got an
a nice
easy
sheet.
area.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, it's a lot easier, in my opinion, than when I got into the game in 2007. It's like no smartphones, having to find a place to print and having to drive to clients, get their signatures, having to find another place to print and scan to send it. It was just everything's done on your phone now. So these kids,
I was
don't
like,
know how easy they got it.
07 was my first day of grade 2, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
Zach, you want to update us on our hometown heroes?
Oh, it's a hurtful topic to talk about the Flames right now. I
You were
was,
there last night, weren't you?
yeah, I was so hopeful in our first episode a couple weeks back because they were making a push. Yeah, couple tough losses. The boys are out. No red lot.
Well, the Chicago one.
Well, man,
Who's our last place team?
yeah, not
I was
even,
at that game, and then I was at the one on Monday.
yeah.
And if they would have won both of those games,
Well,
they
and
were-
not even just that Chicago one specifically. They lost all season to Chicago.
Oh,
They didn't win a
really?
game against Chicago, and Chicago I think was 31st out of 32nd.
Yeah.
They lost to Nashville. Yeah, no questionable decisions. Not going to get into that shootout who they're playing, but no, it was good. I went to the game last night. Had a couple of young call-ups, which was nice to see the kind of future of the team there. So obviously a big hockey fan, but yeah, I'm pretty hurt. I wanted playoffs. I might have to drive up to Edmonton to have experience, which is hurtful though, because I don't know if I need to. I might wear my Flames jersey and try not to get in a fight up there or something. But
Well, the city's just more lively when they make the playoffs,
Oh,
right? It's just everyone's
yeah.
pumped.
yeah,
People are spending money.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
just like,
no, exactly. That's when the oil and gas money really comes out.
Yeah,
for
oh, yeah.
playoffs. Holy.
Yeah.
No, so that was disappointing. But next year,
What place? So they were. It's the top 8, right? Just
top 8 in each division, each conference. So yeah, they ended up 3 points on the wild card. So it was Winnipeg, Nashville, and Calgary fighting. Winnipeg won the other night, and Nashville and Calgary, whoever won the game, was gonna go in.
Yeah.
Well, go in at that point, and Calgary lost. And Nashville is also out, I think, too.
Actually, Nashville got pushed out, yeah.
They got pushed out last night, I think. So yeah, it's going to be Seattle and Winnipeg from them. So yeah, it's okay. I'm cheering for my Rangers though. So
I'm a Leafs fan, so.
Oh,
I'm flying high right now.
stop the podcast. We're done with this clown.
Flames are respectfully my number 2.
Yeah.
I'm from Saskatchewan, man. I don't
That's
even
right.
have a hockey team.
Rough Riders.
Yeah, Rough Riders. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, they're coming soon. CFL season.
Yeah.
My dad was had a stint in that league and
Oh, no
played,
way.
so
That's cool.
we try to go to those games, and it's actually for people that I know the CFL. There's a bit of a maybe misconception. It's fun though. It's
Yeah.
good. It's a good place and it gets to support Canadian sports. So
Oh yeah.
I think it's
Yeah, I used to go to tons of games growing up.
yeah. No, there's a point where
Cowbells.
I was young and my dad went to 14 Grey Cups in a row. My parents are divorced now, so that didn't help. No, I'm just kidding. But no. So I think it's a pretty cool thing there. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome, man. So.
I actually wanted to ask you, in real estate, we have high seasons, right? Like spring. Spring is a very high season, probably the highest of the year for us. With wholesaling, is there also a high season you found over the last 3 years of doing this? Like,
I don't even think we've seen the high. I don't think I've experienced a high season wholesaling yet.
yeah,
Truly, because I actually think it's when the market's completely destroyed. Like it's at an absolute all time low. And if you have the relationships that you have now, those guys have money, right? That's who's going to be buying for 40 cents on the dollar or 50 cents on the dollar, right? So
Have the power to buy an old.
the current highs that I've seen now is these upswings. And then I noticed last year when it hit the plateau, which the interest rates helped plateau it, it was a little bit of a lull on the investor side. So I think on the ups and the downs, or the slopes, right, are really great that I've experienced so far. That plateau on the top is no good, but I foresee the plateau on the bottom being good because thinking like an investor, right? They like to buy it cheapest. And investors know when it's getting to a point where it's like, it's kind of pushing it, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not in Toronto, I don't know, but we're pretty disciplined here to kind of know that, I don't know if it's going to keep running, so they're a little more conservative. They'll mix it up with a small project and a big project to decrease risk. So, yeah, I guess that sums it up. It's like I don't think I've seen actually the craziness what it could be. So that's why I'm really trying to build this
So in
now.
your industry, you don't feel like consistent yearly swings. Like we always in spring have a pickup, right? So for you guys, it's not like that. It's more like just economics. Like,
Yeah, other than that lull last, it was actually April and May for us last year, which is completely opposite this year. It's you see a little bit of lulls there, but for the most part, it's consistent. We have our guys that are just continuing to buy. They're finishing their projects, repeat clients. We have the whole one side figured out, right? And that side can just keep scaling with more buyers, right? The more capital you have access to and different people. It's endless, right? It's just now. Then the question is how many sellers can you get, right?
I don't know. What's the kind of future of Cashyn that you see it? I know you had like a 5-year plan or a goal that you have to.
Yeah, we definitely want to expand across Western Canada and then take a look at Ontario as well. It's going to be pushing into 2024. Like I said, we want to really take care of Calgary here and really streamline and just get to that consistency. Like I said, we have had some inconsistencies, but I just mean with the consistent growth, right? And, we have had the consistent growth too, you can argue, but I guess it comes down to systems, processes, finding the right people, right?
Yeah.
So once we have that, it's, Edmonton and then which market in BC. It's going to take a lot of analysis to figure out which which market is the market that a wholesaler can fit in and slide in nicely, right?
Yeah.
You know, do we go from a development standpoint, because it's very virtual, like it's kind of virtual wholesaling at that point?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to walk the properties.
I was gonna say,
like
like,
it's the
different
least
ball
barrier.
game if you're doing Vancouver or you're gonna do a little suburb.
Yeah, like you got to have some big investors backing for those projects. So yeah, we'll see how it goes when we actually analyze which markets are going to be the best. But we know already that in Ontario, wholesaling is very, very popular, right? So that market could be harder to break into from a competition standpoint, but at least the proof of concept's already there, right? So we could just come in and implement our same process, and if we're just better than everyone, which I think we are,
You
not
are,
gonna shy away
sure.
from that.
No.
You're number one. You said it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Number one wholesaler, and that's for a reason. So
Yeah.
doing well. And
Take care of everyone, man.
yeah, that's another thing I really admire about your company and you and your team is you really are passionate about helping. Because a lot of times the clients that are going to come to Cashyn Homes, they're in a distressed situation, whatever that situation may be. There's many different situations, but mostly they're in a distressed situation, and you guys come in and go over and above. I know a few of the things you guys have done that are not part of your, tasks. I mean, I do things for my clients as a real estate agent that are not expected, but it's to each their own. I know some agents that don't even go a little over what they're supposed to be doing.
One of my sales guys went and tried to bail out one of our sellers out of jail. Man.
There you go.
That's like extreme. That's like
Yeah.
we've done that.
But that's the level. That's something he's never gonna forget. Right?
Yeah.
So
You better not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried to bail him, and then they wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us bail him. And then he got released 2 days later, and then we ended up closing on the property, and then he was able to move out to Europe. So
Wow.
it's crazy.
Fleet.
Yeah, he flew down.
Yeah. Moved up.
He didn't have his Canadian status. Or
Yeah.
He was,
Goodbye.
oh, we helped him. So,
He's the type of guy you don't want to disappoint. I remember my first deal in real estate was going to be his house in Bowness, and my buyer was just lowballing this guy, and I had to work for him, and I'm just trying to say, like, get this for me, so Brennan likes me. Like, Haley had his listing, and I'm like going back, I'm like, oh my god.
I remember
They ended
that.
up getting outbid by like 30,000. I'm just like,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah, we got a good offer on that one. I'm glad that
Yeah.
I didn't.
I'm glad-
I'm glad I had the patience to not take that one.
No,
the lower
that's
one.
good. No kidding. That was fun.
Yeah, that's all good. We'll do something.
100%. Yeah, no, I want to get that done, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time we talked was not as a realtor, but as an investor.
Yeah.
I reached out to you guys because I flip properties as well, right? I reached out to you guys, and I even complimented you. I remember I was in a Halloween store trying to buy a costume, right? And you called because we had a call scheduled, and I complimented you because you're the only person in Calgary, the only wholesaler that reached out to me, right? Like that got back to me at all, even through email. And I was like, yeah. I was like, you guys are super organized. Like, I'm excited to be on your guys' buyer list, right? And hopefully we can get something going, right?
Yeah.
So
No, yeah. It's actually unbelievable.
Just show up. You just gotta show up.
Yeah, exactly. But to that point, it's unbelievable how many people say they're going to do something and don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, especially when there's money involved in business. Like, by the time someone's going to call you at this time and they ghost you, it's like, I just don't understand, like, why. And that's, I guess, a personality thing and to a point in business, but that's why you're successful and people that, get to
Well,
the
you're in
top.
sales, like
Yeah.
That's like like that phone call could be worth $50,000.
Yeah.
And what's the long term relationship like
Exactly.
worth, right? Like if you get a repeat client on the investor side, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It could be worth $1 million, man.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know the future of everyone's life, right? But
Yeah.
No, that's like some of the posts I see you making. You're like, this is a repeat client, building relationships. It's not about doing one deal for them and making them a ton of money. It's showing that this is going to be a long-lasting relationship. As long as you can always provide value for that person, why would they go elsewhere? Why would they ever think about going elsewhere? Every time Brennan probably have a dollar sign next to your name, Brennan's got money for me to make. I'm gonna ask you.
well, yeah, for sure. Two of my guys now that when I call, they know that they're probably making $50,000.
Yeah.
So like and even just on the buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They see the opportunity. Yeah, they see the opportunity. So you keep curating those relationships and keep scaling. So
one thing I wanted to ask all three of you here, and it's just something I've been thinking about being in real estate so long, is it's tough for our clients when they get into competing offer situations. It's hard because you can't reveal the information. You or nor your client can know what the other offers are. Whereas if everyone's on board, I would like to see one day an auction type situation where everyone can be there and it can be live. It's because there's been deals. Obviously, I'll talk about the numbers because I'm not disclosing anything here. But I had a listing and there was offers, 7 offers, and the one that got it outbid the other one by 30,000. Where the other ones were like 2, 3, 5,000 from each other. But then this one person, had he known that, had it been open, they could have all kind of bid, and maybe he would have only had to pay 10,000 more.
Yeah.
Whoever
Well, the guy that came in that high over,
it's kind of unfair. Like if I'm a buyer, which I have been, and on that side as well, purchasing and didn't want to get into competing offers for that situation, I would be fine if it's open because I know how much I'm willing to pay for it. The next guy's like, I'll give 500. It's like, well, I'll give 510. Why should I give 550? Because there's so many people. It should be an open dialogue, and I'm not sure how Krebs and Rika and stuff can kind of instill that.
You can have that open dialogue if you have the consent of your seller, right? I think it's just that it affects the seller in a negative way if everybody knows how much they can outbid it, right? Because at that point it's kind of, I mean, it could be good for the seller too, maybe they could get more money.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They could also get less money too.
You could also get less money. Yeah. Because you said someone bid 30,000 more, right?
30,000 more
So
than the next offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, it would hurt the seller if they knew. Like
So
if it was full disclosure, then then the seller would have made 20,000 less. So it's interesting. But I think it would average out actually. Isn't Realtor.com or Realtor.ca trying to do that right now?
Yeah, there's I think
There's a name for it or something. Just open bid or something. I don't know. But
Oh wow.
yeah, they just I think it was only 3 weeks ago or a month. They were at least throwing the idea out there.
And that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
I saw that as well, and I wanted that years ago. So I'm hoping that it does come.
At least have the option, right?
Yeah.
And that it's easy enough for the seller just to check this box and it's like, yeah, you can go open. And
I feel like both sides would have to agree before though.
Like all the
Like
buyers.
everybody would have to agree to this system. But I mean, that's saying, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out though, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're using escalation clauses.
Yeah.
escalation.
We're
Yeah.
doing right now.
As long as I can see the front page, I'll beat that offer by $2,000.
I don't even put the price on the
Yeah.
front page because I don't want them to just see it and go on to the next one. I write C section 9.2 and I write everything in so it forces them to be like, my offer's 500, I'm willing to beat any other offer by 5,000 to a maximum of 550.
Yeah.
I make them read that instead of my original offer, which is what would go there, and then you say C terms.
Yeah.
Sometimes our realtors got, cause there was a record I talked about on our previous
Wow.
podcast. I was involved in a property that had 53 offers on it in one day.
Oh yeah, you sent me a screenshot of that.
Yeah, it was because you'd be like, I'm not kidding. I left your place and I was like, I put an offer and there was 52 other people in line, 53
But it ended
total.
up selling how much over ask? Like
It was 260. We gave 331 and it went for 351.
wow.
Wow,
Disclose-
It's
yeah,
almost
that's-
90,000 over.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, we were 71 grand over and someone.
So you think that's a combination of they just listed it really cheap to
It was a
create the
distressed.
frenzy?
It was a distressed property, so I'm listing it at that price. In a balanced market, that was accurate.
Yeah.
But because there was nothing out there for
Yeah.
anyone to see,
Yeah.
and when someone saw a property that has no monthly fees, it's an attached house with a garage, needs some work, but that's
Yeah.
fine. Everyone fought for it.
Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
In a balanced market, 260 is what that
Yeah.
as is would it be? Because whoever's walking in there spending at least 30,000.
Yeah.
To fix it up.
Yeah.
So someone got it and.
Someone saw potential.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Or they're one of the very generic deals today we're doing is they're from Ontario, they're from BC, and this is the cheapest thing they've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing anything with a 2 in front of it right now, I think that's detached or even semi-detached.
It was semi-detached.
Semi-detached, yeah, 2s. I'm seeing it already, like even with our investors, they see a 2 in front of it. And yeah, it gets pretty crazy, right? Unless it's a 2-bed up, but even 2-bed ups, they're in the low 3s now. So.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The house I had in Bonus was the only one in the northwest of Calgary that was under 400,000 for a detached home. Right?
Wow.
At the time.
And didn't it fly?
Yeah, I took 4 days conditional sale, right? No financing, just inspection. And it was fairly good. Have you ever tried doing maybe where you think you have like you're representing a seller and you think you have the highest bid and then you disclose to everyone being like, hey, this is the highest bid, who wants to bid more? Is that possible?
The rules are stringent that you're not allowed to do that. You're not
Okay.
allowed to disclose to the other agents. All you're supposed to disclose is the name and brokerage of the other agent and
Yeah.
how many offers you have.
Yeah.
You can get careful with your words and kind of be like,
But with the seller's
Yeah,
consent.
can you do a little better?
Is this
Yeah.
your best foot forward?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like they can't tell you numbers, but they can be vague.
Okay, even without the seller's consent, you can't say numbers. Like the seller says, you have my full consent to tell them how much our highest bid is.
You always do abide by your client's instructions,
Mhm.
lawful instructions. So if your client says, I like these two offers, they're really close, yeah, you can now legally go back to both those offers and say, hey,
Yeah,
listen,
okay,
it's you,
it's down to
and
you,
another
one other
offer.
guy.
You both reevaluate and you both resubmit
Yeah.
a final from both, and we're gonna take the best one. And then realtors will try to call and be like, well, talk to me, you're like,
Yeah.
10 more, 15 more, 20 more, and then
Hot, cold.
Yeah.
That's why I've also noticed a lot more in the MLS and on the remarks. Their realtors are saying when they're going to be opening offers.
yeah.
You didn't see that as much.
But you
but
have to now.
At the bottom,
Almost.
in this market, people are saying we're opening offers Monday at 9:00. So they're
So
having-
you let the frenzy happen, and then you're not opening
Everyone,
anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
everyone knows
exactly.
that
That's-
it's for sale Friday. Come and look at it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday night, 8 p.m. presenting.
So
have your offers in by
It puts
7
the
p.m.
pressure and the motivation on those buyers to really put their best foot forward and do that.
Well, instead of just submit a low ball and unconditional,
Yeah.
maybe not low ball, but just like full ask and then it's gone. It's like, well, it gives everyone a crack. It's like, okay, everyone sharpen your pencils. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those actually. Haley suggested it on Fonda actually when we were bringing it back. But it's cool. Way.
Yeah, so that one was interesting because I had a buyer for it. Tried to persuade them in that area that wasn't their criteria, the area specifically, which the stigma needs to be removed. There's a lot of money to be made there.
Oh man, the appreciation in Forest Lawn. People keep saying Forest Lawn, Forest Heights, and Dover. Well, Dover popped. We know that, right? So. Dover's
And it's
about
like-
100K over the ARVs as it was 2 years ago.
And
And I'd say
everything's-
Forest Lawn's about 60, 70 grand, so
Yeah.
that's
and
crazy.
you go down any street now and it's like new house, infill.
Yeah,
So it's
infills
changing.
and full renos, and yeah, the confidence is super high there now, I think. I mean, there's still a lot of people that have the stigma, but I kind of laugh now because it's like, well, you haven't heard.
Yeah, you haven't heard?
Yeah.
You didn't hear?
Yeah.
See all the deals I did there?
Yeah.
Like, I think
So
I've done
I
like
tried-
20 deals in the last like year and a half.
Yeah, I remember you were really pushing for it, like shocked that people were sticking their nose up at it. But yeah, my clients they were firm on their area and they didn't want to entertain. But so that one went CS and then came back. So you guys obviously have conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, they were tight on their pre-approval, so I kind of figured, I was like, we'll see what happens, but well, we got some time, so we'll get that one wrapped up, no problem.
Not worried. I remember you set a record in Pembroke. I did a listing and sale there, but I showed yours as a comparison. It was, a listing in our house, but you were the seller.
Yeah.
And it was an attached, no garage and stuff. And I had an open house there, and people came in, and the comments from the neighbors were like, "That's the highest price we've ever seen. It's never gonna go for that." I was like, it's Saturday. I promise you, tomorrow it's gonna be conditionally sold.
Wow.
And they didn't believe me, and sure enough, tomorrow it's conditionally sold, and it was a record. I think it was 385.
And I think you can beat that record now in this
Yeah.
market, which is crazy. That would help out the investors on their flips now.
That one was a really good one. A really nice, suited basement.
Yeah, the contractor I had on that one was, he does good work.
How long did that take you?
It was actually 4 months.
4
Yeah,
months?
4 months. Yeah, it was not too bad. I would have liked it to be 2 months, 3
Yeah, of
months,
course.
2 months, but
You want it as soon as you can.
yeah. When we're wholesaling, we took on a couple projects and not ideal. Definitely just leaning into the wholesaling and a few JV opportunities that we've taken advantage of to date now. But yeah, just removing responsibility out of it. I was doing too much. It's a crazy few months.
It's hard to find that balance when you're
Yeah.
a motivated businessman like yourself. It's tough to find when to kind of let off the gas,
Yeah.
where to give yourself a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
do enjoy the few times off work hours that you invited me and we spent some time. I don't know if you want me to mention it, but I'm a really big fan of one of your recent acquisitions, your property. I
Yeah.
love that place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Well, maybe we'll reveal it a little later. Yeah.
That's why I
We'll
won't
have a
say
little. We'll
anything.
have a little party there, and it'll
Yeah,
be good.
that'll be
Bring the
really good.
investors down. It's a pretty fun place. So, and everyone will get to enjoy it because it'll be on Airbnb shortly. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anything personal? Anything you want to talk about? Any questions?
Yeah, I guess you guys are just kind of starting out on the podcast. What episode number 4? What's
episode 4? Monday.
Yeah. So what are you guys thinking about the future? It's just gonna keep rolling one a week.
I always was intrigued and interested by podcasts after listening to a lot. I enjoy listening to them, and then I always felt that I could do it, and I had a lot of people in my circle that I would have loved to interview and ask questions. You're one of them, so I thought after speaking with Sebastian and Zach, and it's great to have these two with me. It's tough to start something on your own, so it's great that the 3 of us are together on this. You, Sebastian, myself, I'm sure we have a long list of people we want to ask questions and bring on, and not necessarily in the real estate world, just in Calgary and promote Calgary in a sense. And so looking forward to what the future brings. We're learning and getting better as each episode goes on, just as the same with anything. You look back at somebody successful, a YouTuber, go look at his first 2-3 videos. It's like ours. First 1, 2 are like dinosauric,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, excited for you guys. That's cool. And thanks for having me on, man. It's do you guys have any more questions? Or
I actually have like a sales question. How do you guys find your leads? I see you guys have so.
Hey,
cut the camera. No, if I gave that one away, then we wouldn't have much of a business. But it's a mix of on and offline, right? So we're not necessarily reinventing the wheel here. We're working hard at it, man.
And with that said, you guys actually have a really cool testimonial on your social media of a very nice gentleman, a very charismatic guy.
Yeah, Johnny Alexios.
The YouTube?
Maybe I shouldn't say his name, but he's a beauty.
Yeah.
He's down in where's he down? He moved down to Trinidad now. He actually was the owner of Fonda.
Yeah.
So he was their OG owner. That's the old kitchen in the background.
Oh man,
what a guy! What a
He's
character.
such a good guy, man. Shout out to Johnny. I want to go see him down in Trinidad.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's just treating sellers great, and just giving good rapport, and just giving that great experience with investors, and the deals are gonna keep happening. Man. That's all it is.
He was just so good in front of the camera. I was like, is this guy an actor? He was like, just like,
it was awesome.
Speaking from the heart, he was happy.
Yeah, he was. Man. He was so happy. Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode. Loved having Brennan here, so hope to have him and more of his team on, Anthony specifically as well.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have part 2, part 3. Who knows how many Cashyn Homes parts we're gonna have, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to get in touch with Cashyn Homes,
you can visit our website, cashynhomes.com, if you're looking to sell. If you're wanting to connect with me, you can also go through that channel, or you can just call our main line, 587-600-1248. And then you can just ask to get in touch with myself. And if you're an investor, we got a lot of deals coming, and we're looking to do more. We're looking to help you guys grow. So you can check us out on Instagram as well. I'm Brennan Buys Bungalows, and then Cashyn Homes.
I love that.
Is our other handle? The BBB certified.
Well, it's gonna change to Brennan Builds Buildings.
Yeah, I think so. Man. I called that out about a year ago.
I remember it.
Yeah, it's already happening. So.
I see one that you keep posting that's under construction. Is that a multifamily?
No, that we just started with a single family. Got a good partnership with a builder.
Okay.
Just doing a joint venture on that. That's out in Glendale on Kelwood Place, nice little cul-de-sac. And then we're doing 3 more actually with that builder, joint ventures. And I just found the sweet spot to wholesaling, but I actually want to get in on some of these projects, but just where can I find the high value there? It's like, okay, well, bring some money, bring the deal, and it's like, you take care of this, I take care of this, and I think it's a pretty good relationship, a win-win for everybody, and there's a lot of opportunity in that space, and then to grow into the multifamily. I got my eyes on a few projects right now.
That's good.
Had some big meetings over the last couple of days, and it's going to be interesting next few years.
Well,
It starts with the deal, though.
of course. We'll talk about
So
those next
exciting.
time. We'll get an update from him
course.
next time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome, guys. It was fun.
Okay, well, thanks,
See you
guys.
guys next Thursday.